Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 14, The Man Behind the Shield. I think this was a good episode for some very unique stuff that they did, and some stuff that I just really like that we don't see too often. One of my favorite things about this, honestly, was the flashback. It was really simple, but I like when they do that where, we get really deep flashbacks before. Yeah, it was some time ago, it was unspecified, it's just like, clearly just, they might as well just put before the Avengers, but I like when we get to see that stuff, because we get to see people like Coulson and Mace, specifically in this episode. We see them in a very different perspective. They're like being real campy with each other. They're making jokes and being silly. They joke about it a lot in this episode, about them having feelings for each other and stuff like that. And they kind of tease it and play around with it, like, is this just them being buddy-buddy? Is this them actually having this tension at this point? And then, we get to the end of the episode where it's like, they kind of just flat out admit it, like, yeah, they have feelings for each other, but for whatever reason, they kind of just kept it playful. And then eventually, of course, where it gets to the end is like, well, who are you about to date? And May is like, oh, he's a shrink. And that leads to something insanely serious. And during that very serious time, that's when May becomes the May that she is now, where she's very serious because of what happened to her. So, love what they did with this episode, and it's really silly. And Coulson isn't like the serious director guy. He's making all these jokes and stuff, and he's not like, it doesn't seem like life and death to him. It was just like, oh, it's my mission. He doesn't even speak Russian fluently, and he's just like, yeah, I need to do this and do that and stuff about cats. And I like that. It was just them going on a mission, and we see them in such a different perspective. And that flashback also happens to tie into Superior, which I love that they poke fun at themselves for this, because that was probably my favorite scene of the whole episode as far as comedy. And Coulson realizes who the Superior is and why he has like this crazy vendetta against Coulson, and why he was basically looking after him. And it's because the guys that they killed were a part of the Superior's unit. And Coulson was like, cool origin story, bro. But it's like, that meant nothing to me. That was, we don't even find out what they were looking for in this episode. It was a 084. That's all they call it. It's just something that they get, and they get it, and the mission succeeds, and there is nothing to it. It is literally a mission that had a little bit of tension to it. Coulson thought he was captured, and he thought that May left him behind. She ends up saving him. They joke, and they leave. Mission successful. We killed a couple dudes. Done. He's like, I don't even remember what we grabbed, man. And it was just funny. It was like, wow, there's nothing important about that. It wasn't any sort of epic reveal, like there was this big thing. It was just like, you killed my friends, and I wanted revenge on you. And he's just like, man, that's it? Like, get in line. It was basically, that's kind of how he seemed. He was just like, cool story. So I love that. It was just like this whole origin story behind the Superior and why he's going after Coulson. Like, he knew that he was involved in the Inhuman stuff, but that's what started it, really, was that really he just wanted revenge on him. And it was just funny. It was like, wow, for Coulson, that was nothing to him. He's just like, oh, dude, I kill people all the time. Like, whatever. So I love that they had that. And Mace, I thought, was really good in this episode. Him just trying to do what he could to survive, and he's getting his butt just destroyed, especially during the second half of the episode when he gets captured. After the Superior beats him up, and then he gets jumped by the 4 guys. And so Mac and Coulson have to come in to help him out. So that was interesting. It was just like, man, they go through, he's being tortured the whole episode till they're finally able to get him out of there. Or sort of get him out of there, who knows, with the actual ending. But seemingly get him out of there. Daisy is able to fight the Superior. She beats him. Everything seems pretty cool. Nice, simple ending. They had a little interesting tease going on with Aida, where she seems to become more and more human. She even gets spiteful at the end of the episode with the Superior, where she's like, he's alive and he still has a part to play. And she leans down, it's like, even Filth has a part to play. And I'm like, okay, it's getting closer and closer to she might as well just be human at this point. So don't know where it's headed. I thought she was going to save Mace for a minute. I'm like, how is this about to play out? But that doesn't happen. We think everything works out fine. They go through the facility, beat the bad guys, save the good guy, let's get home. Simple. And then we have, after all this stuff, which all of it I thought was actually pretty well done. I enjoyed the flashback. Even, that was like the simpler part of the episode, was just we get to see Coulson and May, and, kind of, it was not even the beginning of what really kicked things off, but it was the beginning of what stopped them from getting together. It's like that relationship that they went into became something very real, and then something insanely real happened to her, and it kind of just shut down anything that they could have possibly had for a very long time. And the way they did, I thought, was well done. And then, of course, the present day stuff where they're trying to find a Superior. I didn't think they'd actually get to him at all, if I'm being totally honest. I was surprised that any of that stuff even happened. Like, I know they were looking for him, but I'm like, are they really going to even get to him and save everybody? They still didn't get to May, and Radcliffe wasn't there. Or maybe he was, I don't know. Like, they were all over the place. Considering the LMDs end up replacing him at the end, they may have been there the whole time and they just never found him. Who knows? But it was just very interesting, the way that it all played out, and I love the way they did it. It was a great twist ending. You know, it goes through, it's like, oh man, Coulson ends up being taken over by an LMD. Like, he erases that file. So if it's Simmons, they look it up, it's like, alright, well, if Coulson did it, then, you know, that just reveals that it was him. I just assumed, like, oh, an LMD was detected, it's him. And then they're like, well, how many? And then all four of the people in there, so we have Daisy, which I'm curious if, I mean, I would assume they wouldn't be able to do this, excuse me, unless she had like a turbine inside her arm, but an LMD Daisy won't be able to, you know, have any superpowers, so that's like a tiny, minute bonus, I guess. So we have an LMD Coulson, we have LMD Mace, LMD Mac, LMD Daisy, and then they actually wake up the LMD version of May because Coulson couldn't bring himself to destroy the body. So we now have 5 LMDs, all of which have the skills of these people, 2 of which are just like giant humans as far as Mace and Mac, especially Mac, he's just like a giant of a man. So we have 2 characters who know about the LMDs, and we have to see how that's going to play out. It seems like it's almost going to be horror based, where they're like trapped inside and they have to defend themselves. And maybe Fitz will be able to come up with something, since he's done so much work on the LMD stuff. Maybe he'll be able to find some sort of way to, you know, stop them. But I would assume at this point they're using the framework, so they have like the weird CG brain things going on, so maybe a little bit more difficult for him to stop them tech-wise, but it should be exciting. Like, they're in a whole lot of trouble at this point, and they have to find a way to escape and stop these LMDs. And now, even when they stop them, it's like, well, crap, all of these characters just got replaced. We have 4 new people being, I would assume they're being taken to the framework, and they're going to be hooked up, and then they're out of commission. So we're going to have 5 people out of commission. We have Fitzsimmons, and then we're going to have like the side characters coming in to really help them out. Maybe Yo-Yo will have to come in to help bring the team back, but they are really screwed at this point. I don't know. They better hope a portal rips open and Ghost Rider comes back, because they seem real screwed at this point. But I'm very excited for where they're headed for this next episode. And it just seemed like everything worked for them. And this is like, they didn't get to May, but they did save Mace, and he survived this episode. They beat up the Superior. Seemed good. Everything seemed to be working fine. And then it's like, nope. You know, they kind of won those battles, but ultimately they lost. 4 people got taken to the framework, and then 4 LMDs got put back into play. And now they're just running around with all of S.H.I.E.L.D's secrets. So there's a lot to that, and I can't wait to see what they do in this next episode. But I would love to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I want to know how you guys think they're going to take out these 5 LMDs. They have the LMD May, Mace, Mac, a lot of M's, Coulson, and Daisy as well. So there's a lot to deal with in regards to that, and they're going to have to keep that a secret. Of course, if they reveal it to too many people, the LMDs are going to figure it out, and it takes a lot to take them down. So there's just a lot of different ways that this could go wrong. Quite a few ways it can go right, but we'll just see how it plays out. But I'm certainly excited for this next one. Like I said, though, want to know how you guys think it's going to play out. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.